The Home Pros Radio Show.
This is the Home Pros Radio Show podcast. I'm Tommy Donovan with RIC Home Inspections and your co-host for the Home Pros Radio Show. Do you have some of those nagging home repair or improvement projects around your home that you've been unable to finish? Are there certain maintenance items that you've just never gotten around to addressing? Well, the new year is an ideal time for us all to put those items down on paper and resolve to get them done. To help, Shane and I compiled a list of some of those items that, if you have neglected, you may want to prioritize this year as we review our Home Pros Radio Show list of home improvement resolutions for the new year.
How about taking care of some of those items around the home that tend to fall by the wayside? Things like changing your HVAC filters. How often do you do that? Of course, how often you should do it depends on how you use the home. If you burn a lot of fires, or you have a lot of candles, or if you have pets, or if you smoke, you need to do it more often than others. So I had a house this week, dirty filter. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's going to affect even the temperature spread on your HVAC equipment. And that's an easy thing to remember to do.
It is. And they actually sort of whistle at you. They whistle at you when they get clogged. It's like if you start hitting that in that direction, go ahead and check it out.
That's your clue. If you hear that whistling, also check your smoke detectors monthly. Can you do that? Can you remember to do that? Making sure the chirping will let you know. But sometimes what I see is the batteries are pulled out because people are sick of hearing the chirping.
Yeah.
How about another home maintenance thing to consider doing once, maybe even twice a year, is flushing out your water heater, getting all that sediment out so you can help maintain your water heater. And of course, as Carolina Heating Service would recommend, have your HVAC system serviced annually. Actually, I would say semi-annually.
Yeah, I'd say before in the spring and the fall, before the summer and before the winter, ideally, because you don't want it to go out when everyone else, when you need it and everyone else is
like right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and that really does save you money. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know that's a lot of people look at that as a sales pitch to have them out there or whatever. That's how people view that, but it really will save you money, by keeping it running, just like everything, your car, everything else.
Oil change on your car.
By keeping it running correctly, it will save you money in energy costs.
And I always equate that to like getting your oil changed on your car, right? So usually when you have those services done, you find smaller items when they're not as expensive to address. Then,
after it's already
goes down, and you're like, oh, am I going to need a new system? So, go through your home. We talked about this when we were talking about power bill spikes. Do you have anything that's plugged in that's phantom charging, or just drawing power that you don't need? You got an old DVD player? How about that Betamax? Go ahead and unplug that.
Since you don't have any of those tapes laying around anyway, you might as well unplug it.
Or we're at the point now where they're no good. So. But yeah, old DVD players or any of those types of items that DVD players I guess we still use, but VHS players or anything that draws a power and has a display that you don't even use. Think of pulling the plugs on those. Home printers, maybe plug them in only when you use them. Kitchen appliances and microwave ovens, we do use more often. But if you go for a prolonged time without using them, why not save a few pennies? And my grandfather used to always say when we go visit him, he noticed a light on in a room, and he'd go, "Hey, you owe me a quarter. Save me a quarter. Turn that light off." Also, another resolution, declutter your home. I need to put this on my list. We've got all kinds of things I'd love to get rid of. Nothing will make you feel better and also make it easier to keep your home clean and organized. It's so nice to be in a space that is organized. That can also help with your stress and maybe some of your other New Year's resolutions. Maybe if you're decluttered, you won't be stressed and you won't have that extra piece of cheesecake or that extra glass of wine or however. So start the year off. And here's the thing that will help is go there are a lot of the hardware stores, the big box stores, are doing a lot of sales, if you haven't noticed, on things like totes and shelving and storage things, because that's what they know is on top of mind of folks these days.
They know that's what people need to be doing right now is decluttering.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Another thing, and we talk about this all the time whenever we're doing a home maintenance checklist, check exterior windows, for broken panes, torn screens, leaky seals. Check your weather stripping. Look for areas where the cold air or the hot air may be coming in. Another item to consider, maybe adding to your list of resolutions as we start the new year. There always seems to be that one big home improvement project that needs to get done. How about putting it down on your list? All right, I am going to get it done. I have one of those in my backyard. I have a shed that I started years ago. Remember that story a few months ago I told about?
I remember the tools.
I woke up on Thanksgiving morning and everything was gone.
Yeah.
In my
Same
backyard.
Shed? Were you working on the shed then?
I was working on that shed.
Well, you didn't have the tools to finish it.
So there are portions of the shed that don't have siding on them and haven't. And it's been kind of my, it's been me being stubborn. Like, I'm going to finish this stupid thing. You stole my tools. But, that's on my list.
So it's their fault that your shed
stole my crap. That's right.
If you have any resolutions that you'd like to share with us, hey, we can help hold you accountable. Let us know by posting on our Facebook or Twitter pages. Also, you can email us directly at ask@homeprosradio.com. Want some more ideas for homeowner resolutions? Check out our Twitter page at HomeProsRadio. We have an interesting article we share from House Logic that will inspire you even more. Recently, I had a moment of inspiration while working my way through an attic space. Now, folks, it's cold out there right now, and I was totally stunned when I came across a condition that I've never seen in an attic. It was frost on the underside of the roof sheathing in one corner of the home. Needless to say, I had to take a snapshot to share with you. Check out the photo in the show description of this podcast. I posted the same photo for our radio show listeners who offered no suggestions as to the cause. Finally, I caved in and explained to everyone what was happening.
How about we check out our Facebook and our RSC Home Inspections photo from the field?
What are you looking at? I know what I'm doing.
Did you see that? Okay, this photo was literally taken in the house yesterday. I was in an attic and I was like, ooh, here it is. I actually had a couple of ideas for photos, but I had to use this one. And, there are a lot of times we don't realize what kind of effect the cold weather can have on our homes. Well, if you haven't seen this already, check out this photo, okay? It's a photo I took inside the attic, and it's kind of hard to tell by the photo, but you see some white, fluffy insulation. And you see the roof sheathing, the wood roof sheathing, and the wood rafters. But then there's some white stuff scattered around or onto the roof sheathing, on the other side of the roof sheathing, which at first, what was your impression?
I thought it was some kind of growth at first, some kind of microbial or mold.
I was showing it to my kids last night, and they were like, is that mold? And I'm like, nope. What it is it's frost. So it was actually frost that was forming on the underside of the roof sheathing. The question I want to pose to you listeners out there is, why would that happen? Any ideas? It looks like somebody has, I don't know what you would call it. You got the insulation piled up, and then right above, underneath the roof sheathing, it almost looks like mold or something like that growing on the roof sheathing. I had no takers on that answer. It's actually not an easy answer. What it turned out to be in that particular case is, and it wasn't just in this corner of the attic in this home. It wasn't anywhere else in the house, just in this one little area above this one bedroom. And what was happening is, on the outside, and I didn't realize, of course, what is your first impression when you see that?
Well,
what could be causing it? What would you think?
The temperature's below 32 degrees.
Yeah, for one.
No, I honestly, a roof leak maybe.
Yes, it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. No, it isn't.
Yeah, I want to go with the obvious.
No, it's not.
Mr. Obvious.
Captain.
Yeah, Captain Obvious. So yeah, it was below 32 degrees.
Honestly, I would say roof leak, but the way it's spread out, it doesn't really look like a roof leak, because a roof leak would typically be in one spot area where it's been running down.
But at the same time, I saw that and I was thinking, there's got to be something that's causing moisture to come through to the roof sheathing or something. Well, what ended up happening is when I did get out on the outside of the house, is the gutter was clogged. It was full of moisture. It wasn't completely frozen because, when it wasn't cold enough to freeze freeze it completely.
It wasn't blow. No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't so serious.
Well, what was happening? Here's what happens, folks: is when you have full gutters and they're not draining adequately, and you've got basically a trough of water on your eaves, as this air moves in, your intake air from the outside of the home comes in through your eave vents. It carries that humidity with it. And then, what happens is when it comes into the attic, which will tend to be a little bit warmer, a lot warmer in the summer months especially. Mm-hmm. But when that air comes into the attic space where it's warmer, that moisture will condense and form beads of water on the underside of your sheathing. And then, of course, if it gets cold enough, it'll freeze. So that's an indication that you probably have a situation that, like in this case, where you have gutters that need to be cleaned. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, and that's, honestly, that's something that I've never really seen, I guess, because it's never frozen, mm-hmm. Been frozen when I was up in the attic looking around. But that's something that really needs to be known because, there's so many different things that gutters backing up, so many different problems that they can cause on a house, which we've covered a lot of the other things, the rotted fascia, the water at the base of your foundation, all these things. I wouldn't have ever really thought so much of this, but obviously that could create much larger problems.
It can, absolutely. And people, first several weeks of doing this show, folks were probably tired of us. The two people listening out there were probably tired of us talking about...
You're giving us more credit.
Yeah, I know. We doubled our audience. Of us talking about moisture drainage and roof drainage and lot drainage and moisture under the house. And we'll get back to that, especially once we get into spring months where it becomes more of a problem, if you will. But yeah, that's one of the things that can cause so many issues that typically people don't realize.
Yeah.
So I had a house I did this week where I was like, well, here's the deal. You've got this evidence of there's been moisture under the home. I'd be willing to bet if this was May, June, or July, we would have an issue. But because we're sitting here in January, it looks fine. So I'd keep an eye on this, or at the very least, even though you don't have an existing issue right now, you might want to enlist the services of the expertise of a pest control operator or any other type of contractor who specializes in moisture remediation and repair under a house.
Right.
Because they see it enough, or they can actually tell as well.
So critical to stay on top of those moisture issues in and around your home, and it definitely should be a priority if it's not already on your list of homeowner resolutions for this year. Well, lately I've been resolving to make our Closing Contractor Mystery Sound a bit easier for our listeners to guess. I was a little worried when I played this next sound and no one took a shot at answering, but thankfully our audience nailed it the very next week. Here, you check it out to see if you're up for the challenge.
And a Closing Contractor Mystery Sound. All right, can you tell me what this is? And that was the sound that I heard. It was going on in a home. I guess I can give someone a hint. Let me give folks a hint out there. So that was the sound I picked up while I was doing a new construction inspection, as the builder was putting the last touches on the home and finishing the home.
That definitely helped out.
Okay. Gotcha.
That definitely helped.
All right. So that's your Closing Contractor Mystery Sound. Let's listen to it one more time. You have any thoughts?
There's a ton of things that I could think that could be.
That could be?
Uh-huh.
Oh, cool.
I of course I would have some guesses, but I have several guesses, so I just have to try to pick my best one first.
Yeah, well, even if it's a guess, folks, let us know. All right, Matt from Hendersonville, you're first up on The Sound is Right.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I couldn't really tell what the sound was between, with bacon and eggs cooking here and all that, but I'm gonna take I'm gonna take a guess. There was a 16-pin nail gun.
Oh, he's being specific.
Very specific.
Well, you know what? I'll have to give it to you. I don't know exactly specifically what nail gun it is, but it's certainly a nail gun.
It sounded like a big dog. It sounded like it had a little power to it.
It's actually, I can say this, it is a finish nailer. Because when I was recording,
I was totally wrong. Okay,
you weren't totally wrong. Hey, let's just say this, Matt. You were more correct than all the folks who called in last week to guess.
I heard it last week and I couldn't get in. I would have won last week.
Yeah,
but
So
anyhow, I'll check you guys out online and on your podcast.
Yeah, they're pretty good, and we can edit out any dumb things that we say too, so which is great, you know.
Exactly. So yeah, Matt, or Mark, or Matt. Shoot, sorry.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Many names.
Yeah, exactly. So thanks, Matt. Thanks for calling.
Thank you. Thanks for the good show.
We have another caller this morning, and it's Mark from Morganton. Good morning, Mark.
Well, I actually called. I was going to make a guess, and believe it or not, I was going to say nail gun. So I guess he beat me to the call.
I know.
Congratulations to him.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure we can scrounge something up from the Home Pros to leave behind for you. So I appreciate you calling in, and we'd love it anytime anyone can take the time to be a part of the show. So thanks for calling, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Oh, no problem. Enjoy listening to you guys. Keep up the good work.
All right. Thank you. Have a great morning.
So, how did you do? Did you get the nail gun? If not, no worries. We have plenty more of our Closing Contractor Mystery Sound challenges on the way this year. Make sure you don't miss any of them. Click subscribe so you can be sure you catch every Home Pros Radio Show episode as it's released. Also, please share our show with others that would benefit from the show and leave a review to let us know how we're doing. Here's hoping you'll be doing well until the next time we meet on the Home Pros Radio Show podcast. I'm Tommy Donovan with RIC Home Inspections, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Home Pros Radio Show. Meet more Home Pros at homeprosradio.com. There, you can also catch full episodes of our show, along with additional information to ensure that your home is in perfect shape. It's the Home Pros Radio Show, brought to you by Prime Lending. Home loans made simple. The Home Pros Radio Show, online at homeprosradio.com or on the radio at 94.5 WGTK, The Answer.